regular. You can take, like you said, you can take your camera off. Go up to there you go.
Okay.
So it's
Oh,
so
okay. Well, that is cool. That's much better because I wasn't sure. I was gonna say if you are, let me go put some lipstick on or something.
okay. So whenever you guys are ready,
Okay, so you want me to go ahead and start it off then, right?
yeah, because I'm gonna go ahead and monitor the chat and all that.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so just let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Just give me a count.
Okay, in about 10 seconds. Okay.
Okay,
Matter of fact, no, you already on. Go ahead.
okay. Hello, America. This is your boy Rick Moon. This is another edition of African Americans Ain't African, the talk show that tells everybody that our people did not come on here on some ships coming from some land thousands of miles away. No, this is not Buck Wylam, but he's in the area. And today we're going to start the show off. We're going to have a special guest on the show today. On this edition of African American African, we welcome the ambassador of FIAAH, the Foundation of Indigenous America of Anasazi Heritage, the ambassador RaDine A America. We welcome her to the show, and we're going to be talking about what she's been up to lately, and we're going to talk about her new book, which is called The Black America's Handbook for Survival Through the 21st Century, The Forgotten Truth Behind Racism in America, The Secret Heritage of America. So we're also going to be discussing a couple of things about FIAAH and FIAAH activities. Also, Charlene Brown is also supposed to be on the show. She stepped out for a second, so she can come back in whenever she wants to, and we'll come in. So to get the show started, hello, Ambassador.
Akichwa, everyone. Thank you so much, Rick, for having me on the show. I mean, I'm really surprised, and it's good to hear that y'all are doing well, and hopefully the family out there is doing well too.
Yes, everything's going well. I had planned on doing another show, but I just purchased Ambassador RaDine's book, and I read it, and when I just couldn't put it down, and instead of having because I was going to have the show on something else, but this book just amazed me so much that, and I didn't want to say anything about it. I just figured that I'd rather have the horse on the show and let her discuss it before I mess it up. So without further ado, Ambassador Nine, could you tell us a little bit about what's going on about FIAAH? Could you start by telling us a little bit about FIAAH and what we do at FIAAH, if you don't mind?
Well, yeah, the book and FIAAH work together. The Foundation for Indigenous Americans of Anasazi Heritage actually started as a foundation in 2002, but the journey of its creation started in 1999, and it started after we came out with the first edition of this book, the Black American Handbook for Survival Through the 21st Century, Forgotten Truth Behind Racism in America, has been out since literally 1999. But it didn't start out as a big book. It actually started out as a pamphlet. And in 1998, the research, it had become quite evident, because we were fighting just like we're fighting today, is pretty much the same issues on, why is it that, we're constantly being told something that goes against what we feel in our hearts and what our elders are actually saying versus what this political elite and these educational institutions are giving us. And during those days it was President Clinton. And United States was going through a real big thing of prosperity, but our communities were dying. And if anything, we had a gentrification problem where so many of our people, they had not lost all their homes yet, but they the money was not flowing or trickling down, as they say, to the indigenous communities. And so we were falling in despair. And there's always been a lack of a certain amount of employment, especially for our males. And so in starting the show, starting writing the book, originally it was to give our people an understanding on why this is happening to them. So the first book originally was a handbook for survival, because it became very, very clear to us that if we did not know and return back to learning about our heritage with America, we wasn't going to make it, because we're constantly making the wrong mistakes that cripple us instead of strengthen us. And we can't blame it on other people. And because these mistakes are not going to be done by other people, they're going to be done by us. So we need to make sure that we are not the ones that are poking holes in our own ship and then angry because it's sinking. And so we were very, very clear in 1998 and 1999. Well, in 2000, we knew of the where all the lands that had been taken were supposed to be given back to the people. And in the year 2000, they call it the year of Jubilee. And that wasn't what was happening for us, because we were constantly following this paradigm and narrative that actually disqualified us from our own restitution. So in 2000, I ended up getting arrested, and I ended up sitting in a jail for a week. And after I got out of jail, and it was interesting on what happened in that experience. And I went to the NAACP, and it was a civil rights violation, and it was a prime case of human rights violation. But for some reason, no one would pick it up. It was like, whoa. And at the same time, Johnny Cochran had just finished with the OJ trial. And so, we were clear that there was a double standard, which we had always been clear about. But with the OJ Simpson trial, it made it real, real clear that there was a double standard in which all your money could not step out of. Okay, that there was a ceiling, and that regardless of how much money you had, if they wanted to persecute you through their law, they could. And the fact that OJ Simpson was acquitted made a rift. I mean, boy, United States really went into a deep rift over that. And it became clear. And I sat there, I was a business owner in those days, and I saw it when they acquitted him. I was at the Omni Hotel when it happened to come over CNN, over the Megatron. And I looked at the room, and you could see there was Amerindian people were very happy, because it was clear that the man did not commit a crime. But the face on the non-Indigenous people, you saw an inverted anger. I mean, the face turned to stone. I mean, it was so ugly. And I knew then that there was going to be a backlash. And sure enough, it was. Because at that time, there was still some consumer integration. That means that whites in the United States would still come to certain Amerindian stores or whatever and give them a little bit of support if it was promoting Africanism. But other than that, they didn't have nothing for you. I happen to have a international religious botanica, and the only one like that in Atlanta. And so they were coming to my store, but they didn't like the fact that it was Amerindian owned. They didn't like it. You know, they didn't like it that so I was learning about how this racism, this discrimination, this is implemented through economic warfare. And so after O.J. Simpson was acquitted, I mean, the warfare just got real blatant. And the attacks and the lack of support for the Amerindian people generally got stronger. And to give you a case of that, because some of you were like, well, I don't know, I was looking for a job or whatever. Freaknik was going on for years and would be at the Underground Railroad in Atlanta. That's where it would be. It started out at Spelman and at the AU Center, which was called the Atlanta University Center. And it was going on for years. And then it kind of got a little bit more notoriety, and more people from all over the country that were not necessarily college students started coming. And then the next thing you know, it became sexualized. And but the city of Atlanta really didn't have problems with it because it brought in a lot of money. Well, honey, the next time Freaknik came, they wanted to shut it down. And they did not want the Amerindians to be children, to be having any kind of festive. And I was there when the police presence was there. I was there when I had to show my driver's license in order to get into my own community. They had blocked off all the exits on the interstate to keep those people so they couldn't come in. I mean, it was just really, really ugly what was being done. And they were, instead of the people being able to stay at hotels, they were arresting them, and they were spending their money now to the prisons department. So that economic boom was totally shattered. And so Freaknik became something negative. And there were a few incidents where during Freaknik, but it shouldn't have affected the whole experience. And before you know it, it was torn down, and it just became a free-for-all. So we started to see the direct consequences from not going along and doing what they wanted to do. And as though it was Amerindian females who were the majority on that jury who acquitted OJ, the targets were very, very straight into our pockets on what was going on. So that's what was some of the background that started the investigation into our indigenousness. And as we did the investigation into it, because we use the word indigenous now, but in those days it was just, that we were Indians. It opened up the keg of worms that had been there all along. So when I had originally wrote and was doing lectures about it in 1999 and 1998, we soon after that, after 2000, and the arrest came, Empress of Washita, I had met her. She was there for me. She was one of the people who helped me get out of jail for something bogus. It was totally bogus. But the point was that they were trying to make it as if they controlled our ability to be free. And so I wrote the Black American Handbook, the first large edition for the survival through the 21st century and the forgotten truth behind racism, so that people would understand exactly what was at stake if we did not start to return to some basic knowledge about the narrative that we're following versus the narrative that's being implemented on us in reality. So the book has been out since 1999. It's been as a book since 2002, a paperback. And now this is the completed edition. This is what that was not put in the first one and the second one and the third one, because each one of them has had more layers. This here is the complete bang and boodle. And once a person would read this book, okay, it's going to be the foundation for all the other books people write. This is our time to claim our narrative, claim our truth, claim our human right, claim our fundamental right as a part of life with America. So this book here lays it all of it out, answers mostly all your questions, and the books that come after it by all the authors and stuff will be able to be a takeoff from this, because all they're doing will be adding on more and more pieces.
Okay.
Is that pretty clear?
Oh, go ahead and finish with that. I'm sorry, Ambassador.
And so that's basically what this book will be. And it'll help tie in all the pieces from everybody else's work, that because we keep ignoring that we're being lied to. You know, the miseducation of the Negro, I can't tell people to read it enough, that, you know, we're seriously being lied to, and this has been going on for a few generations. So we're not, this narrative of that will totally remove us from the planet is not, if we, and it's not a narrative that is positive for us. It's not a narrative that empowers us. It's a narrative that keeps us irresponsible. And if we do not step up and do what we are built to do, be a part of our nature, we're just not going to have, we're going to be no different than the Egyptians that are no longer existing that we know of, the Nubians, Carthaginians, and the dinosaurs. So this book explains why it's a matter of color, okay? And it gives you the foundation for rights, planetary rights, global rights. Where'd all this stuff come from? Where did they get it? You know, how does this apply to me? Where do I belong and where do I fit in? And this book answers those questions in detail. Or so that when you finish with it, you should be able to say, okay, I see. You know, let's get busy, because each and every one of our people have a higher destiny. They really, really do. If you're alive at this time, you're here, you have such a great purpose that you have totally been neglected and been misled about.
All right. Okay, that's before we really get into talking about the book, Ambassador RaDine, could you give us a little brief on why is it important for our people to register with FIAAH?
Well, the American Heritage Registry started out in 1999 as called the Geneva Project. And that's the parent to the registry. And the Geneva Project was just when we found out that we were being railroaded collectively. So you're talking about 50 million people are being railroaded out of their basic life rights because they're adopting this narrative that literally will exterminate them. Okay? And it won't be other people's fault. It will be their fault. So we started it originally with people just asking if you have an Indian grandmother, you know, your people told you they were Indians, and blah, 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 just sign a petition. And we're going to do a petition to the United States as Indians. And in those days, I'm gonna be honest with you, we didn't even know the word indigenous in the way we know it today. We just knew we were Indians, and we were desperately seeking. And in those days, the libraries had not been completely censored, because Amerindian people did not go to the libraries to look for anything about their ancestry. They only went and looked for what they were told. Okay, so they were looking at themselves as only as slaves, never as free people, never. You know, and we were still doing something with our culture, and we were constantly being taught that, you know, we did not have, we were born as mistakes. Not because we were born as a part of the continuation of life with Earth of our species. We wasn't taught that. So the whole attitude towards children, life, you know, was destructive. And so when we started doing the work, all the information, not information, but all what was written about us, right or wrong, because I mean, it was just blatant stuff after a while, was right there, and it was easy to get. So the references and the books, I was shocked to find out how much stuff had been written about our people, the constant tracking, everything about us, from our hair to our teeth, our culture had been dissected, okay, psychoanalyzed, and all of this stuff going against the Amerindian, and it was mainly focused more on the Amerindian female, okay, because we create the culture and what they could get the Amerindian male to do. So, you know, that's what started the book. That's what made it. Whereas we found out quickly that it was not just enough to tell people that they were Indian. We needed to start standing up, because, you know, yeah, we're Indian, but what does that mean? And so, and why is that important? And so that's when we started the American Heritage Registry, because as I got into the international community, I started to realize, and this was in the early 2000s, when the Declaration for Indigenous Rights was still coming out of Geneva, Switzerland, and we were working with the WIPO, World Indigenous Populations, and I got able to, through their training and stuff, I was able to get a much more thorough picture on exactly what was happening to us and what we had to do as a collective, our collective responsibility. And so, and that's where the American Heritage Registry became vital, because if we did not understand ourselves, understand how we connect to nature, if we did not understand certain things, then we were indigenous, yes, to a particular area, but you was only considered as an indigenous ward, or basically a dependent, a domestic, a person who is no longer connected and have viability. So it became very, very clear as the registry went on, that we needed to make sure our people who were registering got the knowledge that they had been deprived, and started to understand their connection with nature, how that works. How do you live and work as an indigenous person, as a part of the nature of life itself? And that was the power, and that's why they're killing us. You know, that's the reason why everything is being done to us, is because of what's within us. And if you don't know the knowledge of it, you don't know how it works, then you're just you're no different than a chicken who's gotten its wings cut and is just waiting to go to slaughter. So that's how the registry started. That's how it has developed into the different components we have today. So does that answer everything?
Yeah, that's good enough. Just want to also I just wanted to
hello.
Oh, go ahead and finish. Ambassador RaDine, you there? Oh, okay.
I'm finished.
Okay.
I asked you a question. Did that give you clarity?
Yes, that's good enough. I was just gonna yes, I hear you very well.
Can you hear me?
Also, I'm just gonna talk about a little bit about my experience at FIAAH. I've been a member of FIAAH since, well, I became officially a member of FIAAH in 2008, but I've had contact and been talking to Ambassador RaDine since 2006. And I found that from the first time I talked to her, I just continued to learn more and more. And every time I visit FIAAH or talk to Ambassador RaDine, I always learn something new. And that is why I enjoyed my stay at FIAAH and enjoy talking with the ambassador. And hopefully in the future, I will continue to grow. And hopefully all the people out there listening to the program, I hope y'all can grow with us so we can get us back to where we need to be in nature. Also, I want to say, we also have, we got Charlene Brown here. Well, we just had her. She just left. Sorry about that. I was going to see if she had any questions to ask before we really got into the book, but maybe she'll come back later. Okay. So, Ambassador Dan, I know you gave us a little bit, but I was going to ask you, could you explain to us why this book is so important for our people? And give us a summary of the book. I mean, you told us a little bit about it, but, is there anything else, that you can give us, without telling the whole book, that is? Hello?
Well, the bottom line is that the book is, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
This book is the book. Thank you. This book is the book, the complete and final version of the book that everyone is spending $10,000 for, $850 for, the Black American Handbook for Survival Through the 21st Century, and it's back out, so people can get the book for themselves and not have to pay so much money. It's a hardcover, so the book this time will be able to not withstand, because I've had many people say that their books have finally fell apart, and for us who have helped me with the collaboration of this work, we're very proud that we finally got all the pieces into one book. So it'll be up to us to be when I say us, all of the people, to make sure that they get the knowledge, because and support the knowledge, because the knowledge will allow us to be able not to be so lost. Now, as a people, today Trump is talking about how we're doing better than we've ever done. I don't see this. I see a lot of people working 2 and 3 and 4 jobs. I see people who can no longer afford housing. I see the homelessness of Amerindian people at rocket heights now. I mean, in New York, you don't see no other collective of people homeless but our people. everywhere you go. And it's not limited to just men. It's females, it's women with children. Okay, so whether we like it or not, there's something seriously happening to us, and we're being marginalized more than what we were before. So, and this is being done deliberately because, if you don't have a job, you can't make no money, you don't have nothing to support. If they told you to get on a boat and go somewhere, would you do it? Think, oh yeah, we'll feed you, we'll here, but you just won't be here. Okay, and you're going back to your ancestors. Okay, and here you are, you get on a boat and you go someplace and find out, that this is a joke, this is a hoax. So it's very, very important that we become more knowledgeable of the particulars of how we connect, or what the consequences are for the choices that we make. Because if not, we're going to end up just like the Tasmanians. And what happened to them was that Britain had came and told them to get them to leave their earth, okay, because they were constantly under attack, they were being marginalized, their patriarchies were killing them. And so now they needed a place where they could practice their stuff, the patriarchy that they had adopted into. And so Britain took them to some island. Well, honey, the island had no trees, had no greenery. It was barren. Took them to a barren place and left them there and told them, and you're talking about thousands of people over months were deported to this place. And once they got there, they couldn't come back. So it wasn't a thing whereas they got you there, and if you didn't like it, you came back. No, you could not get back on that ship to get back to where you was. Those people died there. And Britain, would bring what they call reconnaissance and rations and stuff. And they did it for like a little while. And the rations became further and further and further in between. And so the people were there, and it was dry and it was arid. And there was no way for them to develop food. And so a way to support themselves. And this became an ugly, ugly, ugly situation because you need trees, you need nature to even create a way to collect fish. You need a stick, you need something to hold out there. So if you go to a barren area that doesn't have anything and you can't get to something, you got a problem. And this is what happened to the Tasmanians. And they were literally exterminated by being on these desert islands that they were left in. But Britain did not take them there against their will. I hope people are listening to me. They didn't get on that boat with a gun at their head. They walked on those boats. They walked on those boats, following an artificial narrative. And it was an artificial narrative. And that artificial narrative they paid for with their lives. And that's an ugly way to die. You starve to death. And it was written that the people were so hungry that they were running out into the water. When if they thought a boat was coming, they were running into the water. The men, you want to be reduced, they were running, trying to say, please, please. They would hang on to the bottom of the boat while they left the harbor, okay? And they would just keep the boats moving because the people would drown as they got further and further out to sea. And they knew. So we need to be a little bit more aware of the consequences of the actions of what we're buying into. And it's hard to be aware if you don't know nothing. So for the last few centuries, there's been a narrative that has actually kept us in the dark. And that's what this book is for, to get you out of the dark. It's our time to have some reality knowledge. Did that? I hope that helped answer the question for everyone.
Oh yes, very, very well, very well. That leads into the next question. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit about being an Indigenous person and the responsibility that comes with it a little bit. Hello?
Well, the word indigenous, I'm right here. The word indigenous is a word that is, you see Indi in it, and it rep in gin means genes. It's something that's it's where your blood is connected to. We're all a creation from the earth first, and we are a part of its organic system. That's why we can breathe, we can eat. All the animals have similar characteristics that we do. And so where did all this stuff develop from? Well, this developed from the actual planet itself. And so when you're indigenous, what you are is a part of a particular soil section with the planet Earth. Okay. And as a part of that particular soul section, you have a role to play, a service to provide in the functioning of the whole planet and keeping that section alive. No different than having a part of you being a part of an organ in your body. And it's all the organs in your body working together that allows you to be functionable, even be here. It's all these organs, all these different systems working. And when the systems start to go, your quality of life starts to change. So when you are connected to a particular system of soil, then you are, with our planet's Earth body, you are called indigenous. And that's a very vital and a very important connection. Now, most things living on the earth today has an indigenous connection to somewhere on the planet, not necessarily America, but somewhere on the planet. So we're not, indigenousness is not limited to just us. You have people who are indigenous to Archebulon. You have people who are indigenous to Australia. You have people who are indigenous to Hawaii, to Asia. Every area, section of soil that's a major section has an indigenous population. And that population species is continued through the female to carry that blood. So life, so that's how we you know, and that connection to allow us to move forward is in the blood.
Oh, excuse me. Someone's is coming in and getting a lot of static, and we can't hear what the ambassador is saying. Thank you. You can go ahead and continue, Ambassador.
Okay. Well, all I said, I'll just repeat myself. All I said was what the word indigenous means, and it's indie, and it's in the blood. It's a connection to the soil, and there are indigenous people all over the planet. We're not the only ones, and most people have a connection to something on the planet. Your connection comes through the blood of your mother. Right. Whatever she is what you was created to be. You're in that creation network. And so, and we have just kind of walked away from just basic common sense, natural truth. And indigenous people have the power of that area with the soil. So if you want to take them you have to, if you want to keep the soil, you have to remove the people. It doesn't make a difference how you move them, and you can't directly kill them. So they can't kill you off. They have to get you to walk away and not take care of your responsibility, like we like to say, and not use your ability to respond. But if you don't know nothing, you don't have no frame of reference, then you're automatically going to do what you need to do to survive. But it may not be to your long-term survival. Do you follow me? So that's so the word indigenous is for the people who are of the soil, born by the females who carry who continue that DNA helix with the soil of a particular section of the planet. And think of the sections of the planet like organs. So America can be considered the lungs or the kidneys. To North America, you have North America, Central America, and South America, and it's all connected. And if you ever really look at it, you'll see that it's connected, just like in the same similar connection, just like your kidneys or your lungs.
Wow, that's interesting. That's very interesting. You know, a long time ago, this is before I was into FIAAH and what they have to offer and everything. I was an Afrocentric, you know, just like most of the other people, you know, who had a little bit of knowledge. And one thing I can say about Afrocentricity, I think it was a minor step, not a major step, a minor step towards me getting a little bit of knowledge than I was getting from Christianity. But what I was wanting to say, being that I was Afrocentric, I was very conscious. And what I was going to ask you, Ambassador, is you could kind of explain what consciousness really is.
Okay, well, it's interesting you would use that. Consciousness, the word consciousness, is not what we have been led to believe. And everybody knows what a belief is. It's a personal lie. It's right in the word, be lie. Okay, be lie life. So it's something that you use in your life, but it's a lie. And when you have a belief, you're then conscious. And you'll say, well, how do you figure? Well, the word C-O-N, if anybody looks it up, you're going to find that if it's a con, what is a con? Right. A con is a lack. It's a lie. It's a deception. These are all of what the word means. Okay, so the question is, what is conscious? Okay, well, if you SCIOUS and you look up that word, you're going to find that the word just means knowledge. Okay, it means knowledge. So to be a conscious person means that you lack knowledge. You lack knowledge. You have been deceived. It's a deception. And so we use the word as a way of expressing that we have an awareness, when consciousness or conscious does not mean that. It means a lack of knowledge. That doesn't mean that you don't see something. It just means your interpretation, your perception of what you see is distorted. So a conscious person is a person that's operating from distorted perception or lack of knowledge.
Hear that, folks?
So that's what it means. And when you start to, that's the linguistic classes. We do cover that in the education for registration. We cover that, and get people to start so they can start figuring out stuff that's coming in front of them, because we're not going to always be there to hold your hand. So we need you to be knowledgeable. We need you to be able to see what's a trick and what's not a trick, how you're being manipulated. And if you're not willing to learn that, then you may be indigenous, but you are still stuck in the boat to nowhere. And so it's not just important to say you're indigenous, it's important to get the knowledge that you were supposed to be taught about how your nature works and how you work within that, and how that, so that you can actually serve your indigenous purpose, the purpose that you was born with, because it's in that purpose, it's in implementing that, it's in that in which you will reach your destiny. And I'm telling you, y'all, that once you start to flip, it opens up so many doors. That doesn't mean that you're going to always be happy at what you find, because we are a very crippled people. We have been lied to and lied to by the people we trust to know. We have followed ourselves into a house that is on fire and is dying. And as a result, we're dying with it. But if you have some knowledge, you won't die so quickly. So we teach you, and you can make better choices, and you understand why you make those choices. And and the beautiful thing I find about it is that when you make the choice and you move in the correct direction, life supports you in that direction. Then you have to learn what not to do to break that beautiful grace that's being given to you, not to break it up, not to cause more karma, not to cause harm. So as indigenous people, we understand that our economics is built on how well we support each other. We don't steal from each other, because if you steal from him, whatever you stole is going to be robbed from you, and some more. So we're constantly building, not destroying. And so once you understand this and you see how it works, it empowers you. It empowers you. And that is what being indigenous is. It's not just saying it's like driving a car. I was left the car, but if you don't know how to put the key, and you're thinking that the car drives from the back seat, looking out the back window, okay, and there's no steering wheel, you just take a coat hanger and twirl it around, and then you're like, well, look, I'm driving the car. Well, actually, you're not. Okay, you're not driving the car, because you're not getting the benefits, but very, very superficial benefits of what the car really is.
Right.
So when you're living, and the person who's on the back of that car, they're living in consciousness. They're living as conscious people. They living as, because everybody got control over them except themselves.
Right.
Because they don't have no knowledge. They don't know nothing. And we're not a stupid people. I say this often. We're not stupid people. We're not stupid. But we've been severely intellectually misdirected. And you have to learn that there's another part of you that can help you work with your intellect to get you where you need to be going, so you don't constantly make so many mistakes that have such life-altering consequences.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask you one more question, and then yes, very good, very much answer for me. Anyway, I hope everybody out there understood it also. I'm gonna ask one more question before I'm gonna turn it over to see if anyone in the chat has any questions, or anybody on the panel, because I know Charlene is here. I don't know, she might have something that she wants to ask or whatever. As a matter of fact, something has happened on oh, okay, she's back. Yeah. So Ambassador RaDine, I want to ask you about what is semantics. Could you explain that, please?
Wow. Your semantics. Well, semantics are words that the English language use. See, we keep thinking that what we learn in school is English. Well, actually, it wasn't. What we learned was how to communicate as a subject, as a domestic, in other words, as a slave. Anything that's offered to the public system is about keeping the public under the control of the private system. It's, that's what you were taught. And semantics is the words that have double meanings. So you have a private, there's what the word actually means, and then it's what the word is used for.
Right.
And that's a semantic. Okay. So we have been taught I'm Black and I'm proud. All I know is I'm Black. Well, the word Black means dead, erase, people who are being exterminated. Okay. To exterminate, to exploit. We were told we were Black. So we use it as an identity. Got it?
Right. Right.
But we're not actually Black. So we're using this term as an identity term. So that makes it a semantic because it has one meaning and is also being used in another. So there actually no such thing as Black people. Now, some people will say, well, they capitalize it. There's no such people as Black people. It's the semantic. It's a color. Okay. And a color is applied to it, but it means something totally different. Right. So, we have gotten accustomed when we want to talk about ourselves collectively, we'll go, well, Black people. And I try to stay away from that because we're not Black people. We actually have an ethnic identity, a heritage, a purpose, and a service with the life that's within us. And that is what has been removed from us. That knowledge has been removed from us. So we should never be calling ourselves Black. We should be calling ourselves Amerindians. Okay. Which could be a collective term in the English vernacular. Our ancestral name is Anasazi, which is a race term that covers, the North, Central, and South Americas. So we never called ourselves collectively for millions of years Black. Okay, and so when we adopt all these terms, why do we adopt them? Because many of our people, okay, are too small-minded. Their minds are so undeveloped that if you say anything else to them, they don't know who you're talking about. Their frame of reference is very, 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 very small. They're not stupid. They just haven't been given any other knowledge. And that's why the Black American Handbook for Survival Through the 21st Century will expand that ability. So they can have and understand much larger concepts and how they affect them. And understand how semantics are used to keep them under control, under mental control, under perceptual control. It's not used necessarily to keep you from eating your food or whatever, but it is used to keep you in a box. And the fact that we use the term gives everybody else who's trying to apply it to you off the hook. Do you follow me?
Before
So the book has a lot of semantics. It gives you the understanding of those.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Before
I
we
can't
go
hear
on,
you. Are you still there?
I'm still here. Can you hear me? I'm here. Can you hear me?
Now I can. Yes.
Okay. I was gonna.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you very well. I was gonna turn it over a minute to the panel. I know a couple of people are here on the link to see if they had any question they want to ask, or Buck, if he's got anything, from the chat room or anything like that. Go ahead.
Okay, let me get in here right quick. Hello, Ambassador.
Can you
Ambassador,
hear us?
thank you for coming on and sharing with
Yes.
us. I said thank you for joining us and sharing with us. One of the questions I want to go back to, when you were giving us a example of
thank you so much.
Can you hear me now? There
Yes, I
seems to
can. I
be a
can hear you
delay.
now.
Okay. You were talking about the Tasmania people.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I got from you talking about it is that when they left the place that supported them, that contributed to their demise.
Oh yes, yes. Not only did it contribute to their demise, but they were tricked into doing something that they should have never did. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I hear you.
I don't know if you heard the answer, but they were tricked.
Yes.
They were tricked into a artificial perception.
Yes, and
they were tricked into a artificial perception.
Yes, ma'am. And then I see that they left their home that supported that supported them. That they should have been able to
right. They left it right. They left it voluntarily though. See, we think that just because you tricked me once on you, trick me twice on me. And if you study what Britain did with these people and did to these people, they were constantly getting the people to adopt attitudes, perceptions that actually weakened them. Okay, and especially to kill out their females who create them. So they were constantly, the women and children were constantly being murdered. Okay, and being forced to relinquish their ability to keep their blood strong. Okay, and so when it came time to when their numbers dropped down, where they came to the point, then they got on these boats and they walked on those boats. Some of them ran to those boats, and I see that happening to our people in the United States on our earth of America. I see it very clearly because of the mistakes that we're making in our perceptions, and that we got to grow and grow quickly. We got to get out of being conscious and become aware. And we don't have the time to listen to a whole lot of people who are going to take knowledge or information and just create all kinds of cuckoo-ness. And this book here is straightforward, down to the pack. And if people, every family in America who carries indigenous blood, especially females, should be reading this book so that they can make better choices. They can, and we as a collective can start salvaging what's left of our ship, of our lifeboat, before it's too late. We don't want to end up like the Tasmanians and the Rohingya Muslims. We really don't. We are really too beautiful of a people. But if we don't change the way we don't start uplifting our awareness, we're not going to be able to do it. We're going to be a story to somebody else's narrative. Did you hear me?
Yes. And I have to say that I had the pleasure of reading your book, and your book is definitely one of its kind. And I appreciate you sharing with us, because this gives us some pride and some pride in our heritage, and knowing that we are the people from this soil, and how we should be grateful for this soil, and how we should work in trying to connect back so that we could get the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but also I'm hoping that the book will let them know, give you a little bit of insight on how we got off track, and that what we cannot keep adopting all these artificial ways, because a lot of our people are not really interested. They're looking for their bottom line. And you know, we as females have a responsibility to our people, just like our males have a responsibility to their people. Whether we like it or not, we have a responsibility for the next 7 generations ahead of us. And so we have to do more than just eat, sleep, and watch TV and just pay bills. That's a domestic. And we're big. We have a little more responsibility than that. And for us to understand that responsibility and how to do it so that you can get the benefits of living now and feel good about our legacy and the legacy that you leave now. And so some people, it may look like you have to add more, the glass is half empty. To some people, it may look like it's half full. I prefer to see it as an opportunity to recreate our future. And because we have the power of creation, each and every one of us, with America. So we are its creators, and we need to start learning how to take that and create what we need for each other and for ourselves. Can y'all hear me, or am I coming in and out?
Oh, no, we hear you very clear, Ambassador. Can you hear me?
So, Charlene, are there any other questions? Yes, I hear you now, Rick. Any other questions? Anybody?
Yes, I have another question. With this, in your book, you talked about reparations, and you went into the Constitution. Could you give us some insight on whether we should be trying to fight for reparation or ask for reparation?
Well, as you know, it's funny you would bring up that question, because I just had a conversation on the night before last with an attorney, and and they went to find out how many times have we went to sue, how many people, how many lawsuits has been issued against the United States for slavery or reparations, and it was something like 3,500 lawsuits have been filed. And that's not talking about recently, that's talking about, you know, over the years, and it's probably more than that, but that's what, and the number was staggering, you know. And so and they've all been dismissed by the United States. And you're like, well, United States Supreme Court doesn't pick them up. It doesn't, you know, it's thrown away. And the reason why that is being done is because the reparation we got was your citizenship, your second-class citizenship in 1868. And when the 14th Amendment was written as an amendment to the Constitution, in that amendment, it says that United States shall never pay for, does not owe a debt for any loss of life or use of a slave, that debt is non and void. And it's right there in the Constitution. And I'm always amazed because I'm not I wasn't no overly scholar, but I knew what not to do. And it always bothers me when I run into people who do not, we like, well, we want reparations and we want all of this stuff, but we don't necessarily look at what I'm looking for, the 14th Amendment here in the here it is. And it says it very, very clear that there will be no money. The United States should not appropriate debt, okay, of a slave. Just hold on for a moment, because I got to put on my glasses. I'm gonna read it straight from the Constitution. Of what it says about it. Just, and this is something that all of us should know. It says the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States, please listen closely, nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss of emancipation of any slave, for the loss or that means death or emancipation, being able to be free, of any slave, but also all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. So what is that telling you? Can y'all hear me?
Oh yeah, we hear you very much. That's telling us that you ain't getting that.
Right, and the 14th Amendment is what gave you. Okay, hello?
Yeah, we hear.
Right, I thought I heard another voice. So it also says the Congress shall have power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. So that means that they're supposed to make laws to make sure you don't get anything. So in essence, this 14th Amendment was your reparation.
That's
wait. And that's not something people talk about.
Okay, now break that down to us, please. What you just said.
What do you mean? I just read it.
No, you were saying about
What do you mean breakdown?
what was our reparation? What would they consider our reparation was?
14th Amendment.
According to the Constitution, your reparation is the 14th Amendment.
Yep. Check.
Dang.
So I don't understand why we're running around here talking about the United States does not owe you anything. So that means that if they give you anything, it's going to come with an exchange. So the question becomes, what are you willing to give up for whatever little pittance they give you? Are you, for that pittance, will you get on a boat and leave your place that supports your life?
Oh no.
What are you going to give up? But we just like hearing, oh, they owe us. They don't owe you what you think. Everything that the United States has done with our people collectively has came with an exchange. So the question is, what are you giving for your free welfare? What are you giving them? What are you giving up? When you say, oh, it's free, really, is it? What incentive do the people who have been killing you have to give you something other than something that will kill you more?
Go.
So the Black American Handbook for Survival allows you to understand why it's a matter of color.
Wow.
So you understand why that police officer is going to shoot you and what he sees when he sees you. Okay, and it's not he see a black man. No, it's a lot deeper than that. And why he's going to look at you and watch what you do, because you have a power too. And the fact that we don't use it and we misuse it, males and females, every male that's born has a purpose to serve. And the purpose is more than sitting on a female's back, questioning and disrespecting the creators that gave him life. And the minute he falls back into doing what he's supposed to do, life will reward us. It's very, very hard to kill a real brother. No, they don't want to touch them. But if you're not actually serving your purpose, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then hey, it's open season for the best. Do not have to be deer. And even deers are not that easy to be killed. Life fights for life. But if you're not about doing nothing for life, then why should it continue to fight for you?
True.
Does that help you, Charlene?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, well, any more questions for Charlene or anybody else?
I have
Any
another
other
one.
question?
Go ahead.
Okay. My thing is Indigenous, and who are the species who were created here in America, from the soil of America. And the reason I'm asking is because we run into a lot of Native Americans who keep busting in some of our groups, talking about their indigenous and all of that other stuff. So what's the difference between the Native Americans and the Indians, the people who were first called Indians when the explorers came here?
Well, there's a big difference. Native Americans is just like what the word says. They're Native Americans. It doesn't say anything about them being a part of America. You have America, and then you have the Americans. Okay, the Americans are European men and women who came on their boats to settle here. They are not the first immigrants, but the immigrants from the 1500s. Okay, and Native Americans are supposed to be from the descendants who originally found our ancestors in America. Now, are they indigenous? No. Okay, and they know they're not indigenous. And if they're coming into your chat rooms, you know, and it's funny to me because you send me stuff, other people send me stuff about what's going on. And all of these foreigners seem to be attacking our knowledge or trying to make a confusion about our knowledge of where we belong. So now, I just want to go hypothetical here. You know, if you're out here attacking me because you don't want me to know my truth, then that means my truth must be pretty powerful. Would y'all agree?
I agree.
Yes.
My truth must be is going to open up the door. That's going to flip, because you got all these people who are trying to say jump on your bandwagon, and they've been living on your bandwagon. You have to remember, we as a collective of people for the last few generations haven't done anything but try to kill our future generations. I'm just gonna call it out for what it is.
Right.
Okay. You know, our people have been making money off of killing their own people. You know, the music industry, we had beautiful music. Our music uplifts us. Our music charges. Our music, you know, has been about, you know, creating distrust, about making sure that we have no respect for ourselves, prostituting our intimacy for sex, you know, prostituting our men to be nothing but sex givers. You know, I get so angry because, you know, a lot of our males are only thing is they're promoted as being an easy leg. You know, a good leg, get his stuff. He's an easy leg. And as if our men don't have intelligence. You know, and a lot of our men look at the females as they're the ones who always want to get laid by them. Okay, but the truth of it is that our mothers cannot continue the race without them. So when you start to understand the dynamics and how they're being corrupted, you're going to find that there's a whole lot of people taking a whole lot of focus on corrupting us, but they're not about corrupting themselves and other groups. Would y'all agree to that?
Yes.
Yes.
And if they're doing that, you know, anytime people always attack you where they think your strengths are. You know, same thing about our hair, you know, all this about our hair. But if you ever saw indigenous hair and you let it moisturize and you do it right, you would never put another straight piece of hair in your head again. Okay, that's how pretty we look. We are exact opposite of what we've been conditioned to think is a symbol of beauty. And that symbol does not attack us. It doesn't do anything. So we've been constantly, collectively, been played on. Our males to hate their females. So, and the females to feel that they can't get what they need from their males. Okay, and to exploit our power as a collective. And that power starts with the male and female. And we've been split now for 400 years. A war. You can't stand without me creating you. Okay. And we are going obsolete because of the horrible attitude that we have adopted in trying to hurt each other, you know, and not being correct.
All
The
right.
male, the Amerindian male and the Amerindian female, the female is to create in different ways, but each way is equally as important. The Amerindian female is the creator of the blood. She keeps the blood alive. And the Amerindian male, he's the builder and the protector. And when our Amerindian males understand that what these different things are used to rob them of their power to be free, and when we as Amerindian females understand what we do wrong to rob our future generations from being able to fight to be free, then we would to be free. And it's not so much a physical thing as much as it's a psychological. We have to get out of our consciousness and become more aware.
Right.
And then learn how to live with our preciousness. And that's what we teach you when you become a part of the American Heritage Registry. So at least you can get started making those changes.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
I got a couple more questions I'm going to ask, but anybody else, if they want to go ahead and go ahead. Okay, if not, then I got three more questions for you, Ambassador. The first one is, what should we know about racism? Hello?
It's a form of genocide. It's a form of genocide.
Right.
Did you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Heard you loud and clear.
It is a form of genocide. Racism is cognitive genocide. It's just the race part of it is it's a form of systematic genocide.
Right. Okay. She just left again. Hopefully she'll call back and get back with us, because I had one or two more questions for her before we close this thing out. But I hope everybody's taking heed to what the ambassador is saying. We have to get to know exactly who we are, and we need to change what's going on. Okay, she's back right now. Okay, another question. Well, I just want to talk about any solutions that you might want to give us because we're going to wrap it up in a little bit. I just wanted to know, did you have any suggestions or solutions that all of us can take into account and before we buy the book? Because we are going to buy the book, folks. I really hope we are. So anything you want to talk to us about what we should be doing, any solutions that we could do in the meantime, Ambassador?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I can. Hello, can you hear me?
Self.
Yeah, we
can. You hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you very well.
Okay, I don't know what you heard. Okay, I did not know what you heard before because I looked that up and we were no longer online. We're having a very bad internet connection, and it's always funny how the internet messes up anytime that there's some kind of knowledge coming around.
That's true.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I did. I was just
It always messes up. It's almost like a built-in protector.
Right. Yeah, I was just going to ask you, is there any solutions that you could suggest to us while we wait on the book, until we get our money together to buy the book in the meantime? Did you hear me?
One of the solutions is to get the book and get a better understanding, to get a grip. The other solution is that, please, we're begging people to go to their elders, family reunions and stuff, and ask where they're from, so that they can first go to the tax offices and find where your ancestral earth is, because you still may have some, but they've just walked away from it because nobody wanted to be bothered paying taxes. We have become a very selfish people, so you just got to do your homework there. And what's so beautiful about it is that we have a prayer book called the Indigenous Book of Prayer, and we ask people, if you're to read it, to use it, because it really will help you help you go where you need to be, to find the knowledge you're asking for. And it really does work. We've had many people who have left and went and found out that not only did their ancestors leave them some soil for them to have a place to live. We even had one sister, she found out that her people had 10,000 acres, and they were leasing it to the oil company.
Wow.
And they were not sharing none of that lease money, whatever they got, with their family, and not at all. It was that generation, and that was it. And it went back further than her mother. So not only did her mother never receive a dime, and she was direct heir, but the generation before them. So you need to go back a generation or two past your parents, to your oldest elder, aunt, uncle, whatever, to find out. And that's how they found out. And I don't know if they're getting any money from it now or not. I had once, it went kind of viral with them. I haven't really heard from them since. On what happened. Did they have to take the people to court? What? I don't know. But she did find it. She thanked us for giving her the knowledge, to give her a frame of reference to ask the right questions. And once you start asking the right questions, you will start seeing your solution.
Right. Well, and I just wanted to add on, talking about, this is about the book. I read the book myself. I read it. It didn't take me but a couple of days to read it, because it's a very good, excellent read. And because the more you read it, the more you get into it. So, I mean, it took me about three days to read it. It's not very long either. It's about a little bit over 260 pages, and it's very readable, very understandable, and I really enjoyed it. And now, as a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to reread it again to really get into studying this book. I think that Ambassador RaDine done an excellent job in writing this wonderful masterpiece. And I suggest that everyone, as a matter of fact, all of us, should get a copy of it as soon as we can. Hopefully in the near future, I'll be selling them myself when I get my hands on a few copies of it. Also, she was talking about the prayer book. I can also get you a prayer book too for a small fee if you want one of those. And like she said, it's a great book, and we especially for the females, I think y'all really enjoy the book, the prayer book.
I agree.
Mhm.
I agree,
And
Rick.
thank you, Charlene. Did you want to add on anything to that?
Yeah, that prayer book is prayers for us, our prayers, you know, and it's really, really powerful. And I had shared I was running into a challenge one day, and Ambassador asked, I called her, and I mean, I was fire hot, and she told me we to do some of the affirmations. This is not in the, yeah, some of the affirmations are in the prayer book, and she asked me if I did my affirmations, and I had not. And she told me, she said, "Come on, let's do your affirmations," and I did my affirmations, and then I went on to take care of my business. And my plan A, that was totally messed up. But my plan B, because of my affirmations and because I let go and let life handle it, that plan B was better than plan A. It was the results were greater than what I had anticipated.
Oh, all right. All
You
right.
know about the affirmations.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, I do. Very familiar with them.
Well, but those affirmations, but just let me just chime in here real quick about
Okay.
the prayer book. We have lost our ability to use our power, okay, with life. And those affirmations, everything we have now, our people are dying because they're sick. They're emotionally sick. They're intellectually sick. And it physically sick. I was talking to a doctor the other day, and he said that he is so tired. He said that all of our, of our people, their legs are breaking. We're dying. We're falling literally apart. Our shins are breaking, our bones are falling apart. We're having all kinds of malfunctions, all kinds of cancers. And the reason why, and our children are so weak. Why? Because the food is being demineralized. Now, many of us will say, well, isn't that wrong? That's wrong. They shouldn't be doing that to the food. They shouldn't. They are doing, all people are responsible for their collective well-being. It's individual, and then it's community and family, and it's collective. So if it's not no one else's responsibility to feed us, it's no one, and feed us good food. It's no one's responsibility to make sure that it is our responsibility to make sure that we have. So, and life is so good because we have a product called Liquid Life that actually will rebuild and put what's been taken out of the food back in the food. So in whatever you eat, it will give the body what it needs. We have to start promoting what we need to have. And you're not going to go into no store and buy this, because there's not going to be no store out there that's going to give you what you need, and they're not of our people. Our people have a responsibility to our people. And we keep looking outside of us to get what we need. And the people who have it, like here, give your support to that which actually has the support for your life. And the prayer book and things will help you start to see that and start seeing opportunities around you that you just totally overlooked. I wanted to come this way. What you're going to learn is that our intellects are seriously flawed. So we need to use another power within us. And that's what that prayer book helps you do. And that's what Charlene was saying, that, you know, she had an opportunity to see the power from what we do at work and how it worked in her favor. A whole nother pathway opened up for her. Am I right or wrong on that?
You're absolutely correct.
Mhm.
Okay, and it, you know, and I'm glad it did for her, because she was really, really freaking out. And then when it opened up for her and the floodgates opened, and she's been okay ever since. She's not stuck. So we need that help right now. I think all of us do. So the prayer book is one of the powers that we have, is how we pray, what we pray about, and how we do it. And
Right.
if you use it, it works for me. I use it every day, because if it wasn't for that knowledge, it wasn't for that energy, I couldn't write the sacred words that I write today. And break that down, you know, to make people give life a chance.
Right.
Give your survival a chance. Give yourself a chance to enjoy and see the beauty that life has for us, that has been deliberately hidden. So, you know, those two things are part of the solution to get things started.
Okay. Well, since we're talking about food and sickness and stuff like that, Ambassador, could you briefly describe the values of clay?
Well, we call it liquid life because our people have so many hang-ups and stuff, and so much negativity to nature. You know, we have been conditioned to look at nature as something dirty. We can be conditioned to look at our mothers as dirty and untrustworthy. You know, anything that gives us strength, we've been conditioned to look at it in a very, very unnatural way. And so we call it liquid life. And because it gives us back the minerals that we're made of. Each and every one of us who look like the soil carry the components of the soil.
Hear that?
And so you don't see the deer running around here, you know, running the Krogers and have to get all this stuff. And we've been conditioned to like foods that actually tear down our ability to stand strong and be healthy. The worst thing we've ever did was adopt the European diet, and we love it. We're addicted to it. You know, we like cheese. You know, many of us eat beef, and you know, one of the biggest things that's killing our people is chicken. You know, and that's all we eat is chicken, 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 and that stuff kills you. It breaks your body's ability, your mental ability to be able to raise your awareness. So when people come to the retreat and we do the different things and we tell people to register so that we can help them see what they need to do to clear their awareness, to get their awareness to grow. Their cognitive awareness is down. So it's almost like being in the movie The Matrix when Neo chose the blue pill. It was the red pill or the blue pill, and he chose the pill. I think it was the red pill or the blue pill. And it took him out of one reality, and it allowed him to go into another. And when he was thrown and released, because they couldn't use him no more, okay, and he was released, he had to be re-energized. He had to be reset up. And that's what we do. And that's what happens to you when you come to the American Heritage Registry. So it's no longer just a registry for your name. It's for people who want to be on the other side of the matrix.
Right.
Who want to get out. If you're ready to get out, You got to get your mind back first. You got to get it back. And that's what we do. And a lot of people don't want that. You know, I don't want to be out the matrix. I still want to do all things to kill me. Well, you know, hey. But if you're going to be a part of the FIAAH community, we're moving in a whole different light over the years, and we're ready to build. You know, we're building communities, and we finally got all the knowledge we need to build a community from scratch. You know, we have the institute that's in Belize, and we've already built our first Indigenous home, whole setup. So that's already done. We couldn't do it in the state because we couldn't. Everybody wants to get paid. We couldn't afford to pay all the people what they wanted and build a community. It's just not going to happen. We have to build it ourselves. So now that we know how to do it, we know what we do need to do and what we don't need to do. We do know the processes. We know the consequences and all that stuff. We can bring it to the states now and say, come on, we are going to build houses for those people for less than $15,000 to $20,000, and they're going to have a decent home. And so that's where we're at now, because if you don't have shelter, and you don't know how to create food, okay, and use what's from nature to create income or develop an economic base, can we really get free? Or are we going to be like the people in the Bible who came up to Jesus and said, look, these people are hungry and they don't have no fish. And he had to go out and teach the people how to fish. So we have a lot to learn. We have a lot to do. And it can be a lot of fun. It can be a beautiful journey. But nobody's going to make it if you're not willing to change. And we have the tools here to help you implement it. You help us and we'll help you. Is that bringing clarity?
Oh, yes. And let me be the first one to okay that and agree with that, because that's exactly what my experience has been going up to FIAAH. Before we're gonna get ready to close out here in a second, in a little bit, but I wanted to ask you, Ambassador, could you tell us a little bit about the Indigenous Living Summit that's coming up in about another 2 weeks?
Okay, yes. Well, we actually, this year, we're doing it a little differently. We have the Indigenous Living Summit, and it's supposed to be for all people who are operating as Indigenous people to come and be a community, because we're all over the America territories in the United States. And we need to come and meet each other and commune with the earth in a free way. And when I say free way, that means that you're not at a park, okay? You're actually at a place in which we control, we ordain, and we have the ability. And this year, as every year, we have workshops for the first 3 days. It goes on for 10 days. This year we're going to be doing the festive party. It's called the carnival. We're going to have our own carnival starting Friday afternoon through to Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. And then we go canoeing. And it's open to the public. And the interest fee is only $25, and that's to help us, help you, because we still got to use electricity for the party and what have you. But we're asking people to come dressed in their Indigenous wear. Come dressed in your Indigenous wear. Come ready to commune. And at the function, we're gonna have a talent show. We're going to have so if you're talented, please come. We're looking for drummers. If you're a drummer, please come. We're looking for, we're going to have music, dance, poetry, or spoken word, skits, and lots of food. We do the ancestral dinner on Friday night, and all those who bring food to the table can eat at the table. People who don't bring food at the table, the meal is $10 per person. And we will also have a workshop for filling out your passports. Now, at Let's Set the Record Straight radio show, we did do a thing on an episode about the passport, about United States in 2020, July 2020. You will not be able to go domestically from one domestic city to another within the United States without a federal ID or a passport. A lot of this stuff is coming. So we really are asking people to get their passports because you want to be able to go more than just in the United States. You want to see other indigenous people of the Americas and how they're surviving and what they're doing, because all of our culture has been kind of fragmented all over the place, but it's the same culture, and it's wonderful to be able to go to different places and see what's still living of our culture, the culture of nature, the culture of America. So it's you want your passport to be able to do that, and I'm telling you, it just opens up a whole nother world. And other than that little box that we have been given that keeps us tied down, it literally keeps us in mental and emotional shackles. And so the retreat on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the cultural thing, that's what we'll be doing. We have someone who's going to be teaching how to fill out your passports and stuff like that, what to do and what not to do, which we all need to know, so that when you fill out your passport and you send it in, to get your passports, get it. Now, some people will say, I don't want to be a U.S. citizen. If you are an indigenous person of America, there's a way you have to fill out your passport in order to get that recognition. And we need to know what it is, and it will be taught on that Saturday. The fee for attending the 3-hour workshop is $20, and it will be up here. Those of you who are interested in coming, you can go to www.FIAAH.org, and at the bottom of the homepage, it links you straight into the website for the summit, and it'll give you more knowledge of what we do, what to bring. We camp out. This summit every year is the summit of the earth. So we're not running into hotels and stuff like that. You can camp here. We have 236 acres, but we do have 10, quite a big space. And if we run out, we can open up more for people to camp here. We do have some spaces where you can rent. You can just rent a tent and share it with some other people, where you can stay for the weekend, and just, we'll provide the bed, the sheeting, the towels, the pillow and stuff, but we can't provide you necessarily the clothes. So all of that is on the website of what choices you have to do at the summit. And you will learn how we lived with the earth and how to rebuild your cycle with that. And that's what that is. Now, for those of us who are already registered and what have you, we will be doing the induction ceremonies. The induction initiations will be Thursday night, August 16th. And that's not open to the public. That's only open to Indigenous people who are registered with FIAAH. We induct the new members in. And a Monday and Tuesday, if you don't, is workshops. This workshop this year, by popular vote, we're teaching canning, how to can, and how to do different forms of food preservation. So that if you don't have a refrigerator, you want to keep your electricity bill real low, you can know how to keep your food and have it for you regardless of what happens. And what I have found, that if you're doing the affirmations and what have you, Even if there's a disaster, it doesn't affect you in the most negative way. So you will be able to bounce back. So, that's part of our power. So, let's learn some stuff. And if you're going to attend the whole retreat for the whole, from Monday to Saturday, it's $100 for the whole shebang and boodle. But if you couldn't do that, you just want to party and sit around and be around other people who will be dressed beautifully in our feathers and what have you, we're having the celebration, the cultural celebration festivities that start Friday, the 17th and 18th. And we will do fire ceremony and give you a chance to rebuild your energies and be in an atmosphere that really most of our people need to be in. We will do, and if it's warm enough, if weather permits, we will try to get as much water, get y'all hydrated as much as possible. All right? Did I cover everything?
Yeah, you covered a lot. But I can add on a little bit to that. Also, you are very welcome to bring your children, because we also have activities for them. We also have, like she said, we have activities for the females, we have activities for the males, and we also have activities for the whole collective. So we have different things for different people. Also, I wanted to say, where else can anybody tell me anywhere else where you can get all of this training, teaching you how to survive in this century? Can you tell me anywhere else, anybody else who's doing what we're doing up at FIAAH? Because we've been getting we got a few new heads out there talking about how we charge and we overcharge stuff and how stuff should be free and stuff like that, where she just told you, and she just told you just half of it. She just told you a lot of the activities that we do and a lot of things that we're going to have for all the folks, and that costs money. So that's why we have a charge. That's why we have and if you can afford to go buy a $200 pair of Jordans, but you can stay for 8 days at the summit for only $100. I mean, you'll spend your money on all this expensive jewelry and stuff like that, and like I said, where else are you getting all of this training and knowledge from? Please tell me, because if you can tell me a place better, then I want to go visit them too. I want to visit them too and see what they got.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that and giving that insight. But the I and the elder council and stuff, we're not getting caught up into that, what people think, because we're very clear of what's going on with the United States and us. And when I say us, I'm talking about all indigenous people, whether you call yourself indigenous or not. You're being marginalized. And if you don't have certain skills, we're not going to rescue you. That's not our responsibility to do. It is, and we're not supposed to starve and sink with you because you feel that you're supposed to get something that you don't. And there's nothing on this planet that works like that. And we have a tendency to think that we're children or babies and that everything's supposed to be given to us. And if that was the case, they would have gave it to you. And they didn't. And when I say they, I'm not talking about United States, because it is not United States responsibility to tell you about your nature. It is not the public education responsibility to tell you what foods you can eat and what you can't eat. It's not their responsibility to give you the knowledge you need for you. And it's just not. And we can never, because if that's the case, then what are we going to give them back? And they're here, they're in America building America for them. They're not building, and they're not building nothing for you, because it's not their responsibility. Okay, and I can't say that enough. You know, I'm not one of these people who have a great love, you know, for other folks. I'm not even. It's not about other folks. It's about what we were supposed to do and what we are supposed to be doing to support ourselves. My son said something to me the other day. He said, "Well, mommy, I can't get a job with those because they don't have. We never built the industry, you know." And I'm like, "Well, honey, if you stick with us, but I'm sorry, we don't make enough money here to give people jobs, but we should. We should be selling enough liquid life to and keep help because we have the remedies to keep people strong so that they can receive and get some of the beauty life has for them, but we don't get the support." You know, we don't get the support. Then we've had people come behind us, and I had one woman went to a graveyard and had the audacity to be trying to sell people graveyard mud, you know, and we got her, but you know, that was just ugly. You know, that's just ugly. So until we can get our awareness on what we do better, you know, many of us are just going to be trapped. But it's up to us to help each other to get out of the trap. And if anybody wants to come, you can, like I said, you can go to www.FIAAH.org, or you can call and leave a message or email admin, ADMIN at FIAAH.org for any questions, and we will find it on the website and send it to you. Especially if you're in the Northeast, if you're in the New York quadrant coming towards Atlanta, it's before you get to Atlanta. We're in West Virginia. We're right off of Interstate 81 and 77. Charlotte, we're only 2.5 hours away. Atlanta, we're only 6 hours away. Drive away. We're in the mountains where there's fresh water and everything. And come on down and relax before you go back into those cities. This is your retreat. So please come on down into the Indigenous Living Summit. Thank you so much, Reginald, for that shout out. I was really surprised. So I'm really sorry. Thank you. That you don't know, I'm about to cry because I just got so much love that I didn't expect to have. So it's a good feeling. And Buck Wylam, do you have any questions? Can I call, what do you,
The Indigenous one, Buck? Anything? I guess not. I guess not. Well, we're gonna go ahead and let Ambassador RaDine get back to her duties. I want to thank her for coming on the show and briefing us on the book, about FIAAH and about the summit. And hopefully we'll see everybody up there. Again, it's from August 10th to the 18th. And if you want to come on up, we invite you up. And you can also you'll get to meet Rick Moon, because I would definitely be there. So with that, Charlene, did you have anything you want to say before we close out here?
No, thank you. And thank you again, Ambassador.
Well, thank you too, both. Thank you so much for having me on and giving me this opportunity. And I'm not going to be in hiding anymore. So anybody who wants me to do anything, be on the radio, be on the thing. I like this hangout. I've never done this before. You know, y'all, I'm older now, so I'm not as technical savvy, but I will be making sure that I am available and out there. And if y'all will help me, I will be always at your demand. So thank you again and I want to thank African American Ain't African, because y'all have really made something big and have a strong following. And now it's time people to learn. It's really time to get some knowledge. So thank you for having me again. And anytime you would like me to come again, just give me a shout out. I will definitely make you my first priority.
All right. Thank you, Ambassador. We really enjoyed it having you on the show, and we look forward to having you on again. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and close out. We've given you all the information. Well, most of the information. Now, all you have to do is buy the book. Buy the book, please. It's a hardcover. It's great for your library if you wanna if you have one. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a very popular book. I expect colleges and other schools to pick up on this book too. So we are very proud of Ambassador RaDine and the work that she has presented to us. And like I said, I'm getting ready to read it again so I can really delve down into it and get a complete understanding. I have a pretty good understanding of it now because it's a very easy read, very understandable and everything.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Go ahead.
The book is, as of, somebody just emailed me, let me know. It's on Amazon. But if you want a personalized copy, then get the book from the bookstore, the Amerindian Marketplace, at www.FIAAH.org. Okay.
I've posted that already, where they could get it from the FIAAH website.
If they want a personalized copy. The Amazon and them also have it. I don't know if they may have some mistakes, but maybe they've corrected them. But you can get it from Amazon.
All right, y'all. So I hopefully that everybody buys the book. They've already given you all the different ways that you can get it. Also, if you could also check with us, you could talk to one of us, and because we know how to get in contact with the ambassador. So if there's anything that we can do, we could also help out on that. And with that note, we're going to go ahead and close out. Enjoyed Buck letting me have the stage here for the day, and hopefully and also, before we go, next week will be the return of the Boule Bleach Out 2020. So everyone get ready for next week, because it's going to be a bomb burner. I'm letting you know now, I'm probably going to make a few people angry, but we have to put out the truth, and we got to get this knowledge. So next week, it will be the return of the Boule Bleach Out 2020. And with that note, thanks everyone for listening in. Thanks again to the ambassador. Thanks, Charlene. And with that, that's all, folks. And have a good night, America. And when I say America, I am talking about all indigenous life, not just people, all indigenous life. That includes the plants, the trees, the animals, and all the soil, the water, everything. That's America. And with that note, everyone have a good night.